What's up guys, it's Saber from the Neighborhood, coming back at you with another attack strategy video. We're doing really well in CWL right now. We are about to take first place in Champs 3 League and move on up to Champs 2, so we're all really happy about that. But what I'd like to talk about today is the Queen Charge Hogs strategy, and eventually I'm going to show you a breakdown of how David planned an attack, this base, right here, number 11, versus... or excuse me, this is the wrong war, this is war number 6, but he's been on a triple absolute tear. He hasn't missed a triple yet this war. But the one that I want to talk about today is this one, David versus Nana Tan Hung, I believe you pronounce that, an Elite Warriors in the very first war. It's a really great planned out hog attack. But first, we're going to just look at some Legends League attacks to just kind of give you an idea of the power of this attack strategy. So I'm basically using a generic Queen Charge Hog army in my Legends League, as my Legends League composition, let me say. And it's been really, really strong for me, running in a lot of bases that are pretty similar. As you can see, 4 of my last 5 attacks are triples, the one before that 92%. And then I did have a little bit of a fail there for 20%, but that was mainly because I was spamming for my last attack of the day where I just deployed all the troops and I didn't have heroes. But let's look at this Queen Charge Hog attack because it is really, really strong. I'm going to put the base on ×2, but what you're going to see here is, especially this being a common internet base, you can use your queen to basically kind of walk the outside a little bit, use the wrecker to break her in, and then just kind of hog the rest because you'll have that nice crescent straight line shape. And so let's just speed it up a little bit. She's going to work her way through. Once she declares a side, you basically funnel that side. It seems pretty clear she's going to be heading up towards the 12 o'clock position at this point because that builder hut is too far to walk her down. And so because of that, you're going to see me drop my king at the 12 o'clock position to sort of funnel the top side. And the reason being that I'm going to use my wall wrecker at approximately 10:30, there it is, to break in through these walls. Didn't quite work out in this situation because the queen locked onto it, but that's why we have wall breakers. So the wall breakers break the queen in. She works through a couple of these defenses, and once she deals with that Inferno Tower and knocks out the Town Hall, you're going to see the hogs come in from the 3 to 6 side. And if you pause and look at this base, you can clearly see a pretty straight line, starting from this Tesla, and basically working around the base, Tesla, Wizard Tower, Archer Tower, Grand Warden Tower. It's kind of like an arc around the base, and that's the path the hogs are going to take. They're lined up very nicely. I save a couple 4 back there at the end just to kind of make sure that they follow that straight line, and the Royal Champ comes in behind just to make sure they continue on the correct path. Use the freeze that I had extra because I didn't need it on the Town Hall, Grand Warden ability, and at this point you can tell I have a heal left, I have the Royal Champion ability. This base is smacked. So specifically this is an internet base and it's really easy to beat. But this shows you the power of a Queen Charge Hog attack. It really is truly strong. So now that we've kind of gotten that warm-up out of the way, let's go back to CWL and look at an actual raid where David executed this when it matters. So first we're going to go into this base and we're going to look at kind of our sketch drawing and we'll see how he planned it, and then we'll watch the replay as always. So let's get right into it. Alrighty guys, so let's talk about what David's plan was for this base. And as you look at this base, when you're always planning a hog attack, one of the biggest things that you have to worry about is the queen. So I'm going to circle everything in blue here. You have a queen that's very deep in this base, right? And so the question is, how can you get to her? Well, if you're trying to do a queen charge, you could potentially charge this direction towards the Town Hall behind a wall wrecker, towards the Town Hall, jump into the center maybe, get the queen the eagle to scatter. And that's possible. You'd have a pathway for your hogs that would look something like that around the base, but that's a little bit difficult because of how spread those defenses are. You might end up leaving the Eagle Artillery up for a long time, and you just don't want to risk that. So what David's going to do in this case to avoid that is he chooses his Queen Charge angle, which I will do in purple, sort of on this funky little walk this way, and he's going to use a jump to get into the central compartment, and that's going to give him access to all of these deep, important defenses, such as the Inferno Tower, Expo, Queen, another Inferno Tower, Eagle, Scattershot, deep in this base. Funnel's pretty simple. He uses a P.E.K.K.A on this side, clears out all the trash, and he's going to use a King on the other side and just walk that King around. And the King doesn't get a whole ton, but because he starts on the outside side of this barracks right here, it forces him to walk out. If he would have started him on the inside side, he would have walked in. So that was pretty important. And of course, you poison the CC. But if you look at this base now, right, we've created a pretty clear pathway for our hogs. So if we assume all of this is gone, basically, and we start our hogs around this top end, we can see a pretty nice path that looks something like that. And that way we're hitting the Town Hall early, and we're not risking any 1-stars in CWL. And if we save a couple back-end hogs, maybe here and here, we can keep sure that those hogs stay on path. And so that's basically David's plan. So now let's see how he executed it. Alright guys, we are back. So let's see how David executed this attack. So he's going to start with the king on the outside side of that barracks, as we talked about, the P.E.K.K.A down on the other end. The important part about the king was making sure he was on the outside so that he walked up. Once the P.E.K.K.A and the king have basically depleted the edge, he can start to deploy the wrecker. Now, it's important when he deploys his queen, as you're going to see here, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, that he deploys her on the top side of that elixir storage so she does not walk down. Instead, she walks up, knocks out the second elixir storage, and then can begin her charge into the base. He uses a coconut loon to just kind of look for any mines, and thankfully he finds a little red bomb. Saves his healers, though. That's the important part. The 3 ice golems come out of the wrecker, and he uses them as a walking meat shield for the queen, and that's what happens. You're going to see she goes into a pretty high DPS area, and a lot of these ice golems, in fact all of the ice golems, go down nearly immediately. But in doing so, they gave her enough time to shoot through a couple of those defenses, and now she can deal with the now she can deal with the lava hound and the archer queen and the king without dealing with an extra inferno tower and an expo and a scatter shot running down her back. As you can see now, she's beginning to push towards the center, and once she gets into that center compartment with this jump spell, she'll have that nice arc pathway that we talked about, going from that town hall all the way around to the back end Inferno Tower. That's what you're looking for with hogs. You basically want to make a straight line path, and that basically enables them to just run through the base. I want to point out the nice use of the freeze spell there. The freeze spell allowed him to give the queen, an extra bit of health. And let's pause it real quick here and just talk about the freeze spell. The idea behind a freeze spell is it's not necessarily the same as a rage spell, but it serves the same purpose. If you use a freeze spell in place of a rage spell, you're saying, I don't need to power through this, but if I freeze the defenses, my queen has enough health that she can just shoot through them before they wake up. So if you're trying to save some spell space, and you don't necessarily think you need the rage to just power through a whole bunch of defenses, the freeze is a good option, especially on the enemy queen. So now that that's done, I just wanted to talk about this here as well. You can see the clear line path. If you just look from the town hall, right, all the way around, back to the back end Inferno Tower and this wizard, there's a clear path for the hogs, and they're just going to follow that pathway. He has 5 or 6 left to pick off these outer lying defenses, such as the mortar and the archer tower. You're going to see there's a little Tesla farm here that pops and throws things into confusion slightly, but the real champ can cover it. That's basically the strategy here. This is a really successful queen charge, and now we start phase 2 of the hog attack. So here are the hogs, earthquake on the town hall, and the warden is going to use his ability to protect them from that Giga Blast and the freeze effect, although I'm not sure this town hall had a freeze effect. A couple of hogs coming in from the top. As we mentioned, there is a Tesla farm, which throws things into disarray slightly. He's going to use a heal spell here to get them through the Inferno Tower. Not the Inferno Tower, the Scatter Shot and the Eagle Artillery. There was a bomb there, so that threw things into disarray as well. But at this point, you can see the queen is up. She just uses her ability. He still has a full, kind of pack of hogs. There's 20-ish of them left. He has another heal spell. He has 4 or 5 healers up. Bunch of cleanup coming down. This base is smacked at this point. Even the queen survives, even though she was down to a hair of health. Maybe she goes down to this mortar here in a second. Maybe the hogs get it. But yeah, she ends up going down at the end. But you can see that this base is absolutely smacked. One of the nice things about this attack strategy that I want to talk about here, I'm just going to pause here again. Zoom in right there. This woman right here, she is extremely powerful with hog attacks. She has a sort of synergy with hogs that maybe she doesn't have with Queen Charge Dragon or, Laloon, or even miners, really, because she follows the hog pack all the way through the base, and she can stop and pick off things like skeletons, like enemy heroes, and that makes a big difference in your hog rates. So let's just watch the rest of it here, but that's basically it for today, guys. This is a really, really strong attack strategy. David's really good at it, and if you'd like to check out more of this, we'll be posting more videos like this kind of content in the next couple days. If you're interested in this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It really does help this channel grow. And this is Saber from the Neighborhood signing off. Have a great day.